HVZ is a giant game of tag.
So HVZ is a game where a bunch of humans basically try and not get tagged by a bunch of people who are playing as zombies.
And when they tag a human, the human becomes a zombie.
I've been telling people it's like a big weird LARP game where you shoot each other with Nerf guns.
Humans versus Zombies is more than just the game. It's actually evolved into a massive community.
And it's just like a giant Nerf tag game.
Game of tag where when you join one team, you don't get to leave it anymore.
Like, if you die, you become a zombie, and if the zombies win and everyone's dead, everyone wins.
And then it turned into, I guess, something that people were visiting Goucher for. Hey, I want to apply to this school where this ridiculous thing is happening.
HVZ is a giant cooperative tag game that brings many different cultural and social groups from Goucher campus into play one sport together over the course of about half a week. And it's a great example of how our campus comes together. It involves having a group of exponentially increasing zombies, hunting players armed with Nerf guns, socks, marshmallows, and their wit.
How long did it take you to memorize that?
I didn't memorize that.
Alright, my name is Brad Sappington. I was one of the co-creators of Humans vs. Zombies in 2005.
I'm Joe Sklover. I went to Goucher and graduated in 2008. I was a computer science major. I have been associated with Humans vs. Zombies since 2005, the first ever game. And I became a moderator in 2006 and have been working on zombies since.
Creating the game was essentially an accident. We didn't mean for it to explode into a game. We just kind of wanted to meet people in the T, which was new at the time. It was the first year. So we made a garbage game called Assassinate Your Friends, where you had to hide from people and put like 3 fingers on your forehead if you knew somebody was coming, and they'd try to shoot you with a Nerf gun. And it was the worst game I've ever played. It was absolutely terrible. And Chris Collins, one of our friends at the time, said, you know, you should introduce zombies to this game. It might be better. So there's a big sale on Nerf guns. We got some Nerf guns. We introduced zombies. And after a lot of late nights of video games and talking up rules, this thing kind of just made itself.
I'm trying to remember the exact rules. I think you had to sneak up on people and shoot them, and that tag only counts if they don't see you. But how do you enforce that? You can't enforce that. I mean, like, it's gonna be I saw you first, no you didn't. So then it turned into a game where if your hands are on your head, that means that you have been seen and they can't shoot you. So it turned into everybody walking around campus with their hands on their head all the time. And at that point the game just broke, basically. People still had a blast somehow, but the game was broken.
We were playing a lot of Splinter Cell, like late night, my roommate and I, Chris Weed, and so we wanted to create a paranoia game in real life, just sneaking around and being creepy. And that was where the inspiration came from, and then we realized that the exact opposite would be way more fun, which was a zombie invasion, the opposite of sneaking around.
So, as a moderator for HVZ, what I have to do is help make the game happen, first and foremost. So we have to not only just design missions and plan rewards and game structure stuff, we also have to get it approved by the college, and run through the Office of Communications, and do a bunch of administrative stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It's not too much, but it's enough to be significant. Additionally, during the game, we have to actually make sure people are following the rules, which is helped by the players because they kind of self-monitor a little bit and report incidents to us, which we handle as moderators.
I had advice when I first became a mod from the guy who was a senior my year, who said that when you're a senior modder in your second semester, if you do mod, you have to try to be more hands-off than you normally would be, because you're just there to make sure it runs, not to make sure how the game kind of works?
Usually we get all the moderators into a room, and then we figure out what we need to accomplish for that day. Usually it has to do with elements of planning the week of the game. So the game usually lasts from Tuesday at midnight or Wednesday at midnight or 12 a.m. on Wednesday, and goes until Saturday afternoon, whenever they finish on Saturday. There's one final battle on Saturday. So we have to plan something every day and night for the game, for every day that it's played.
So we are testing modded guns so that to determine if it's safe or not for players. So my friend
Ari, how's it going?
Ari is going to shoot me with this modded gun.
Modded, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Coming together and talking about things really gets the gears turning and ideas flowing.
The opening missions? The opening missions are usually the last thing we plan, because it's the mission that really sort of sets the game. So we'll usually start with the missions on Wednesday night, and then Tuesday night will be the very last thing we do. And so it's usually like based on whatever the plot is. We like to introduce the characters, sort of explain what the general theme of this HVZ game is going to be, and do something that allows the humans to have fun even though there's not direct conflict until midnight, because no one can get tagged until midnight. So the idea is to keep them out until midnight, and also to make sure that they're getting pumped up for the week ahead.
There's two teams. There's the zombies, which are trying to tag the other team, the humans, and as a human, when you get tagged by a zombie, you go onto the zombie side. So the zombie numbers keep increasing as they get tags. The humans' defense, to prevent themselves from being tagged, apart from running away, is shooting the zombies with Nerf darts, or similar toys.
I was sitting in Pearlstone, and everyone was, automatically is afraid that I'm the OZ, so every human I see, they automatically stun me. And then Andrew Krupa, who was the OZ, walked up to me, and he didn't stun me. And I looked at him, and I was like, "You're the OZ, aren't you?"
The OZ is a special type of player who helps get the game rolling, because at the start, everyone's a human. There are no zombies, except for one player called the OZ, which stands for Original Zombie, and the Original Zombie looks like a human to everyone else, and is able to tag people basically quietly, or silently, in a hidden way, because they're dressed like humans.
I started out and I was like, oh my god, everyone's gonna know it's me. So I would try to do all these things, which turned out to be very obvious that I was the original zombie, funnily enough, in retrospect. But it was, I think more than anything else, it was, the original zombie is always sort of this symbol. It's this symbol of the zombies, and it was kind of fun to inhabit that role as, as somebody, with a voice at the table, when the zombies are in the chat figuring out what to do, or there's the phone chain going around, you have some input, and that was a new thing for me, especially because I hadn't played in a semester, because I was in Ireland, and so it was really fun to come back to that.
For the last game, the opening mission took place in Pearlstone Atrium, where we had basically a dance, a meet and greet. It was interesting. For me, the opening missions have always been interesting. They sort of set the pace of the game as far as the storyline.
For this year, we tried to have the story that we're trying to tell, the plot with this game, influenced our mission structures. So for the opening mission, we planned a little party, because it was in line with the story that we were trying to tell. Kind of a fancy ball, dance, gathering thing. And what we planned on doing was having all the players hang out and come out dressed all fancy, which is always fun, and hang out for a bit, give them sodas, snacks, and then we would hold a raffle. We had raffle tickets for sale for the whole week before, as people were signing up. They could also buy some raffle tickets. We held a raffle at the party, trying to spice it up. Also had a little tournament where people could try shooting each other. And we had, what was the last thing? We had like dance lessons with some of the mods.
Thursday was the goat head, which became a horse head. Because horse head masks are cheaper.
The mission was to find a horse who was located somewhere around campus and to bring him back to the Stimson courtyard. So we organized the zombies all together, and most of the zombies went to find the horse. Myself and 2 other zombies decided to go keep tabs on the human squad and pick off humans where we could, if we could, and to see if they stay together, because if they stayed together, there was no way we were going to be able to take them out. But if they happened to break up into 2 groups, then we could have like organized like a zombie ambush. So for me, most of my night was spent stalking the human squad to see where they were and to keep in contact with the humans. To keep in contact with the zombies to tell them where the humans were.
Well, the mission tonight is to come find the horse and lead the horse or scare away the horse to a certain location, rather the humans or the zombies. So this is the starting position of the horse.
Cool.
Saturday was pretty mellow for me, although it was crazy for everyone else. It was the final battle. But we had a special guest invited, Jose Bowen, and his dogs. And so I was one of the mods tasked with escorting Jose around and making sure that the game fanatics, or rather the frenetic energy of the game didn't get to him too intensely. We wanted to give him a good impression of the game without him actually getting hit by anything, or his dogs. But he seemed to have a good time. He was really interested in the game and had plenty of questions to ask, which we answered and he found interesting, and he had a couple of suggestions. But he was very positive about it, and everyone loved his dogs.
It's just great, clean zombie fun.
It was fun. I really enjoyed that one. Out of all the final missions, it was definitely one of the better ones. I had a blast too, yeah.
I think that we set it up kind of in a way that allowed the humans to get really, really far and even stand a chance of winning. And I think that, yeah, they were really close. I think that they enjoyed that because, I can only speak to last semester because that's the only other final mission I've been to. Even as a player. But I think that last semester we kind of had them running all over the place and they got picked off really fast, but this semester we kind of set it up so they could just plow their way through, and they got really close, and I think that was why they had a lot of fun, because it was a different structure than just the defend the base thing that they're used to, and it allowed them to get really, really far.
I think had 60 people, and game 2 had about 120, and I think we pooped our pants when we saw that number. It was absurd. We're like, I can't believe 120 people are playing this game. And when Facebook came to Goucher that year, and UMBC or College Park I think picked it up that year as well, and we were like, how did they find out about this? This doesn't make sense. Why are there people playing this game? I'm really excited. And then we find out a year later people in Australia are playing, and it blew our minds. I couldn't believe it. I did not expect it. We thought it was just going to be some way to meet new people and have fun, and it turned into something more special than that.
I am personally in contact with over 30 games across the country. I love the community that it spawned. Last year, Penn State was not going to host an invitational, which got Ithaca upset. Ithaca called Penn State and said, "You're doing this, we're helping you do this. Let's do this now." So 2 schools had to put on one invitational last year. So.
a great thing to have on our campus. I'm very proud that it was invented at Goucher.
Before I even came, on Admitted Students Day, I started seeing posters for it, and I looked into it, and I found that like we had come up with it and stuff like that. So I was super pumped about it. I got a bunch of guns before I even came here and stuff like that. So I knew I was going to play before I even showed up. So
my experience at Goucher has been such that you find your niche. For me it was the theater department. Other people it's, I don't know, biology, lacrosse team, whatever. And you don't get a whole lot of chances to break out of that. And when I say chances, I mean like anybody can make another friend, and who's a different category than you. But it's not an explicit opportunity. This is an opportunity which is presented to you to step out of that bubble that you live in, and work with other people.
HVZ was one of the many reasons that I decided to come to Goucher, but as far as where everyone else at Goucher plays, I'm sure they all have their reasons. One of the reasons I play is I've always seen HVZ as a challenge, and added in the fact that it's a Goucher tradition. As I said, it was invented here at Goucher, so I feel as though a lot of Goucher's community have a stronger tie to the game than those at other campuses. As for what it says about Goucher, Goucher definitely is weird, and HVZ definitely does promote that. I also think that it kind of shows the community spirit here at Goucher. It takes basically a lot of like working together to play HVZ, and just the things that I've seen humans accomplish together, the things I've seen zombies accomplish together, it just really speaks to the general community here at Goucher. People join HVZ because they see other people having fun doing it, they see the basically like friendships that it builds, and I don't know, I've only ever seen HVZ as a positive force here at Goucher.
One of the things I truly believe about Goucher is that if you put in any effort at all, you will find a place here where you belong. Somewhere where you can do your thing and no one will judge you for it, because they are also doing their thing in that group, and you're like, sweet. And it creates really strange kind of social groups on campus. And I won't say there aren't cliques, because there are cliques, but I have hung out with people who I would never have hung out with just because I lived next door to them or stuff like that, and Goucher is just a nice place for weird people. And so for me, HVZ is kind of a very concentrated version of this, because though it only lasts 4 days, we draw players from every inch of campus, and then force them to go through stress together, to hunt together, to fight off the horde together. And I think it really does build a sense of community through the HVC players, which I think is just such a fundamental Goucher thing to do. It's just this kind of like, screw your social groups, here's a Nerf gun, go hunt. And for me, that's kind of why I love that we still do HVC.
What does it say about Goucher? I don't know. I think it's awesome that it started here, and it's just that for a relaxed group, or at least the people that participate in it. I mean, I wish there was more participation on campus, but about the people that play it, they're just not. They don't take life too seriously, which I think, and like, especially in the time of our life right now, it's very easy to do. So instead, they realize that there's still time in the day to have fun.
Like Humans vs. Zombies is a great way to make new friends, and it's true, like, I have met a lot of people and learned of a lot of people who I definitely wouldn't have met otherwise if I hadn't been playing or modding. And I think that says something about the players. I think it says that they're a community and we all like each other, and that's awesome.
Goucher College is weird, and I think we pride ourselves on that. I think it's part of being a Goucher, right? Yeah, a gopher. I mean, the fact that HVZ was invented here, and the fact that we consistently get high turnouts, we went to an invitational this year, and there were maybe 40 people, and it was a much larger campus population. They had people coming from other campuses, and the fact that the school turnout was just so small was shocking to me because we've never had a game that low. So just the fact that we consistently have at least, 100, we can usually rely on at least 100 people signing up, and that's like low end. And so that's really amazing, and it really talks about like the community spirit. It talks about just the fact that people want to have fun, I think, and it speaks to our weirdness of being a Goucher, which is one of the reasons I came to the school.
One of the things I find intriguing about the game that surprised us was the spectrum of people that played the game. There were nerds, there were athletes, there were people that I don't know how to categorize them. I hadn't considered myself a nerd, but I guess I could fall into that category. But there's theater people, there's athletes, there's communications majors, there's people from all across the board playing this game, and I don't think that there is a type of person who plays this game. I think it's just somebody who, for some reason, gets pulled into it and enjoys it, and they decide to stick with it, which is pretty exciting.
HVZ started off as something uniquely Goucher. It was designed for a couple of friends to meet people and provided these individuals a quirky, collaborative medium to do so. Though students at Goucher are among the most unique in the country, the bonds people form during their 4 years keep them here. The game puts players in a situation where the social hierarchies do not exist. These thrill seekers are not only what makes HVZ fun, but what makes going to school at Goucher enjoyable. In order to conquer difficult challenges, the students band together, use their intuition, their physical fortitude, and their spirit of resilience to reach their goals, be successful, and have a good time in the process.